What up, everybody? Welcome to Synctank. I'm Andreas. David's with us. Eddie's with us, and we have our special guest, Chris Vigil. How you been, man? How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I love.
Well,
I can't.
You like that?
I just can't. I can't help but like. It just also we've got this kind of similarity in our. It's like kind of a red and a blue version of like a synchromistic background, but the distance is beautiful. This is just it's a whole new thing. We are into Halloween. I got some cards sent to me from our fan Richard here talking about Halloween, and something that people don't seem to look up that much is the word Hulu. I was thinking about this earlier today. I want to show my screen here. 1 second. Tab. Hulu. The word Hulu itself is Chinese for a gourd vessel in magic. And they put the soul in the Hulu, right? It's like how do you trap a demon or something like that. But also very clearly the tradition that led to the jack-o'-lantern, which I think is pretty cool. So
that's hilarious. I never knew that because in Mandarin it's called Hulu,
right?
Yeah, you got to get the tone right. The Hulu, yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, because there's three different. It could be a completely different word. Like I mean. The intonations and stuff, but the Americans
it's actually a very important tool for Taoism and the perform magic. They use it to perform magic. For what do you call it? I forgot that word already. But for divination.
Divinate, yeah. I mean, the soul trapping. What is the deal with it? What's the use of the?
I'm not an expert at it, but I just know that a lot of these Taoist magicians they will be carried on their waist-side. Besides pouring water, they drink water out of it. but most of them, the traveling magicians will carry it.
Is there a Life of Brian connection with the Holy Gourd and they chase after him with?
Is that a thing?
Life of Brian, the scene with the gourd. You guys don't know what
I don't remember the gourd scene. Oh yeah. What happens with the gourd scene? Explain it.
They think that the gourd that he interacted with is they think that he's the Messiah, so they're chasing after him, and then they're like the Holy Gourd, and they have this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
he just barely even touches or something.
I believe Gordon was the name of Alf, his real name, Gordon something. I can't remember, but
wow.
I gotta watch that movie again.
That's the trip. All right, so I mean that's my gourd. That's my spiel on gourds. What have you guys been seeing this week that you've been thinking about? I know it's a crazy time of year. What's up in your minds?
Anybody watched? I've been binging on the Game of Thrones, just to get up.
The House of Dragon, you mean?
House of Dragon. I've been binge watching both of them, which a lot of my working hours. But because I haven't really been immersed in the universe of the story. So now I'm starting getting familiar with everything, and now they're tracing back to the old history, and I'm like, wow, this is
What's up, Andy? We're getting caught up. We're getting caught up on House of Cards, House of the Dragon.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, right. It kind of is.
It just really it's just becoming extremely incestuous. I mean, they just had a wedding of the uncle and the niece, so it's
the old way.
Everything is though. Right?
There you go.
Look
at that one. Yeah, that
Velma?
one. Scroll down.
Oh, I was like,
Velma.
So the last episode was episode 7. I forgot his name. One of the sons of my guy.
I'm terrible with these names.
Yeah, me
something
too.
Us.
So they were fighting over the dragon because the princess died. So the children, her children, wants to inherit that dragon, but this kid he ended up stealing it. He jumped on the dragon, stole it. So the kids were fighting, and one of the kids took out a knife and took out his eye. So it's eye for a dragon, basically. So I thought, wait, that just perfectly describes the reptilian eye. Where if you look at a comment that I posted in that, we're talking about the black eyes, right? The eye of Horus and the eye of Ra, and the celebrity, basically getting their you're getting the eyes punched out to show the allegiance.
I mean,
I
even the
immediately
name.
thought of Odin. I immediately thought of Odin because to me, like these Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings series are all kind of like old hidden history, kind of in a way.
Yeah. So that was a well. I never read the book, so I don't know how this came about, but I'm pretty sure House of Dragon was following. But it wasn't really the book, right? Because House of Dragon is like a spin-off.
They
It
did
was
make a book.
adapted.
He did write a book, which actually pissed a lot of fans off because it's like, wait, no Winds of Winter, but we get a fucking side quest. Like, what is this? So yeah, there was a book.
Well, you'd reviewed the 7th episode. What did you think about it? You'd said that it was incestuous and also occultic. But what else was going on?
I think I have to bring out the family tree to be able to speak of it properly. So basically, it's a Targaryen story. The Targaryen is the original empire, the dragon bearers, the dragon flyers. What do we call it? Dragon riders, right? So the blonde hairs. So basically, it's the hair, because they didn't properly have a male hair. So what's her name? Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra. She was supposed to be the female hair, but because her father married her best friend and produced all these male hair, so she basically fell out of favor and started sleeping around with a bunch of people, including her uncle, and now. So basically, just a bunch of they were really like trying to speed things up. So the whole story just became like this crazy time jump in the last 2 or 3 episodes. So a bunch of people got killed. Her husband turned out to be gay. So basically he's a Valerian, but they never produced children. All the children she produced was with some royal guards or imperial guards, and then and then now in that last episode she's always been infatuated with her uncle, who's her father's brother, Damien. So Damien, basically they had a secret wedding. With, they said, well, my husband faked his death because he's gay. He wanted to live his life as a gay man, so he faked his death. Well, you have to watch it to see how it unfolded. So Damien, the uncle, said, "Hey, well, let's preserve our, let's refine our bloodline and let's get hitched." And I don't know what happens next. The next episode they're probably gonna have children. I don't know. So just a lot of ancestry over there.
But, weird thing. Didn't the first books come out during the Bill Clinton election?
Probably.
How did that go? And then it was 2016. The show became really popular. Is that I don't know.
Close. It was probably like 2011. I'm way off too.
I don't follow the show, but I thought that there was an interesting, maybe if I was gonna be watching the show, one of the things I'd be paying attention to is just correspondences to the idea of the Game of Thrones and the way that things play out in politically with we kind of treat our politics like as though it were there you go, House of Cards, Game of Thrones. That's interesting.
I was just gonna say it was good to kind of have these on around the same time, at least, so you can kind of see this great.
There's no way that's an accident.
Is the dragon thing? So you're saying House of the Dragon? Is there Hobbes with the Leviathan book? You know what I'm talking about? Are you familiar with that? Idea of Leviathan as a government allegory. Wrote a famous book called Leviathan.
I've heard of it.
I don't know. Maybe it's applicable somehow.
Maybe. Well, this dragon symbolism is also, again, it's very heathen as well.
Leviathan is taken as a dragon, but also as a fish, depending. It's and then I guess that connects to the Hebrew letter Nun, which is a serpent and a fish at the same time. It corresponds to death in the tarot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking outside of linear time, because it's all these animals, the serpent, the eagle, the fish, they're all kind of the same species at different times in evolution or something, different transformations.
Actually, I made several posts. I'm trying to backtrack and see. Also, there's well, I've been watching the Game of Thrones. I started to analyze some of the symbols, like the whole the crown and faith. Where they what a lot of Masonic hidden meanings in there. Of course, the twin pillars of the world, which is the crown joining the faith, and the church and government unite, and also I'm just scrolling because I made a lot of posts. I'm trying to track. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting. Also, I feel like there's some kind of correlation with what's going on with the royal family right now. The setting up of the fighting between the brothers. Prince William.
What about the joust? How about the joust? It's interesting, this like duality they have set up where like the dragon loses a joust to a guy named Christos. It's like interesting little duality there. I wonder if we could find more of that kind of symbolism.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of jousting in them.
Well, just the Christ versus the dragon, like it's that Christian perspective almost. That I don't know. That's kind of what I was seeing.
Also, yeah, I in the Game of Thrones, also trying to look at symbols like the Star of Babylon, the scepter, the septagram, and that the meaning with that one as well.
I got a symbol I was going to show also while Chris is here. Virgil, you had posted a let me see if I can find it. The Stargate Earth symbol along with the Tomb of Jesus, right? You're muted, by the way. I was trying to figure out how to click your mute thing, Chris. But if you can hear me, we're looking at that picture. You'd sent me this connection between the Stargate Earth and the lost Tomb of Jesus pictures that they were pointing out. Supposedly, geologists in Jerusalem claim to find virtually unequivocal evidence that this might have been the resting place for Jesus. Whether it is or not, at least that it's presented as such using the Stargate symbol was pretty interesting.
Where is this located?
This is in Jerusalem.
Okay.
I think maybe hopefully he can reconnect because there was an audio problem there. But he'd sent me some interesting stuff connecting this. But Dr. Ari Shimron says he carried out the new test that suggests this is more likely the Talpiot tomb, a burial site found in East Jerusalem in 1980. And it was a family grave for Jesus of Nazareth, his wife Mary Magdalene, and his son Judah. Who knows, right? Like, here's the whole thing. But just it's interesting that the symbol over the door is the same as the Stargate Earth symbol.
But the circle is in the triangle rather than above it?
Yeah.
Yes, it seems to be.
Okay. I just uploaded in the... Oh, actually, it didn't upload. Okay, I made this post a couple of days ago.
It's like Alpha and Omega or something.
Yeah, can you check the Twitter message?
Oh yeah, okay. One sec.
So this is another post about the two sons. Like, there was an episode called "The Second Son," and a couple of shows ago we talked about the plan to create two sons. Yeah, I don't
2010, the year we made contact thing.
Yeah. For example, that one with Europa. And so I was watching Game of Thrones. The episode was called Two Sons, where the prince from I'm trying to get the names correct, from the house of Martell, he came and visited the King's Landing, and then they were discussing the black sheep, the second son always being the black sheep of the family. So hey, Andreas, do you see it? Do you see that post I made?
Is it not this one?
Oh, I don't see you on the screen.
Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry. This guy here?
Yeah. So what's his name? He's in Narcos. I forgot the actor. He's from Chile. So he played the Prince Oberlin. So I don't know. I was just thinking, I was just listening to the dialogue, and I thought, okay, well, there's a lot going on with Game of Thrones. If you look at the whole show started with incest, right? They were discovered as the brother and sister were having sex, so that's how that what's his name, Brandon was pushed out a window and became a cripple. It became basically there's that formation that ISIS with basically having sex with Osiris, their brothers and sisters, and then you have the Black Sun, which is Set, Saturn, Set, all that correlation. So I just feel like the whole show seemed to have that structure going on, and then the episode with the second son, just listen to that, like, oh, this is pretty interesting. This seems to be covering that ground. Anyways, it's kind of loosely written over there. But I thought of what's going on with I talked about last time. Prince William is the sun god. The Sun King. He was born on summer solstice. With Prince Harry was he celebrated his 33rd birthday with Cassini crashing into Saturn. That itself is a move of the fabled Project Lucifer, to create the light bringer. Through igniting the gas planets, right? Saturn or Jupiter, they're both loaded with plutonium-237. Well, actually, it's 238, and then once it's detonated, it'll become. We're looking at the number two. This is Kubrick's room 237. I forgot what happens with the isotope. The half-life turns into. I forgot, but yeah. So I just thought that all these things that's going on between the royal family, especially the Queen's death, we're gonna see a lot more of this infighting going on, and also it's sort of weird too. If you look at what's going on with Denmark right now, they also did the same thing with the second son. The second prince, his children are revoked of royal titles as of last week. So there's like it's like both royal families in Denmark and England, they're trying to kick out the second son. Basically
strips 4 grandchildren of royal titles after Queen strips. Yeah, so kind of an interesting situation here.
And it's funny because those children are half Chinese, quarter Chinese, because their mother. The prince. Well, the prince divorced the wife, the first wife, who is half Hong Kong Chinese and half British. So
got a wiener dog.
So these children are quarter Chinese. I don't know if that's a reason. This is a racism in the royal family.
I know, having a wiener dog.
I don't if you're Chinese. Yeah.
Having a wiener dog is definitely a sign of classism, no? And like being a eugenicist, I feel like, in the worst way. But
but also, if you look at Meghan Markle, she's black, so maybe that's another topic too. So there's a pattern forming here. Why are you revoking the titles? What for? Save money?
Not because he's black. I think it's just because they're, the second sons. In the Croatian and Slavic traditions, they don't split it up. They just, the oldest firstborn gets everything, and then everyone else has to go figure it out, which leads to war, but that's fine, usually.
So that's why I love to watch. The more I watch the older Game of Thrones, I'm on season 6 now, and I'm like, this is the whole. Yeah, I watched the whole thing within like 3 weeks. So
and this is your first time through, or is this like a rewatch?
I've been skipping around. I never really watched an entire episode, so now it's just like really trying to keep track of everything, the whole story. I have to watch it.
Books are so much worse.
The family tree. I have to watch it with the family tree because I get confused so quickly.
Chris, did you watch Vigil? Did you watch Game of Thrones ever?
A while back, when it was first popular. I think I watched it on Netflix. It was after it aired. I'm not sure if it was Netflix or something else, but I watched it on. I binged it for a little bit. It was fun. You get to the pearls and whatnot. I don't know. I didn't really obsess over it so much emotionally as just using it to pass some time myself.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm not quite into the fantasy, the pop culture fantasy stuff as much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you did do the Stargate thing. You were there's a
Yeah.
brutal echo right now. Hold on.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
I don't hear the echo. It just sounds distant. You know, I want to hear you closer.
is my mic not working? Test, test,
Oh,
test.
oh yeah, there we go.
There you go. That should be good.
Yeah.
As long I was hearing myself through the thing, but that should be okay.
Oh, that was a problem. I could turn this down too. It's
Legit.
the first time doing this,
Ooh.
so you know.
You have some good stuff though. You were gone for a second when I was trying to show the thing you sent me. This was good. The idea of the Stargate symbol above the tomb of Jesus, and then David pointed out, but the circle, whatever this is above as opposed to inside of the chevron.
Yeah, I've mused over that for a while. I don't know what to think for sure, but there's another connection there. If you've seen the later Stargate stuff on the ship, so they're actually traveling in spaceships through Stargates, and on this ship it's an Atlantis. It's Atlantis, the city, and the city is a ship. So I don't remember exactly how all this goes. It was a while ago I watched this, but inside, all of their doors are T-shapes. So if you look at this door, now it's a common thing for doors. It's not like it's really uncommon for doors to be T-shaped. It's actually a lot more common than you would think. I'm not even seeing. Oh wait, yeah, that is the Atlantis ship, I think. I don't know, hard to tell. Yeah, these are all other ships.
You're making a Tav reference? Is that what is?
No, I mean it kind of like watching this ship. What was the question?
Is it a Tav reference? You know, the last Hebrew letter as a pictograph was a cross in a sense, but it's a T. It's a Tav cross.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're
cross. People say.
Yeah, Tau cross. Yeah.
Yeah, Tau cross. Right.
Right,
So
but it comes from the Hebrew letter Tav, right? Isn't that the?
yeah.
Or
Well,
yeah, whatever.
kind of. Yes and no, right? So
I mean, from the roots of that letter, yeah.
Actually, well, the roots of Aleph and Tav. Well, okay, so yeah, I mean, when you go Tav, you go Aleph, right? You just immediately have to go there.
Right. There's two T's in the Hebrew, so there's Tet and there's Tav. So it can get confusing, but yeah.
Well, I thought it was the, but yeah, I'm no expert in the Hebrew either.
I'm
but
not
so,
an expert either.
Yeah, the modern Hebrew tab looks like a staple, right? Looks like a door's posts and lintel, as they would have said it. So that's actually a pretty early change, early on in Hebrew.
Hey, Dave, that's letter that's representing the blood marked on the doorway, right?
That's what they say.
Right.
Yeah, the sheep's blood on the for the.
And it's the one that I think you would say is uniquely Hebrew and not Phoenician.
Or do they say chet is actually that? Is that how they do it? Because that chet is so okay. So hey is very similar to Tav. It's just it doesn't connect. So on the stroke on the left doesn't actually meet the upper stroke. Otherwise, you have like the letter looks like a resh or a dalet if it was to go over. Yeah, all the letters are connected in various ways. But the reason I was bringing up Tav is just because apparently from its pictographic roots, it was like a cross. So you have like, if you've ever seen the snake represented on the
yeah, it was more X.
Yeah,
like that red X we're looking at there, right?
Totally.
It was slanted. It's like turned at an angle.
So the gematria of serpent, Nachesh in Hebrew is 358, which is the same gematria as was it Mashiach, the Messiah in Hebrew. So the Messiah has the same geometrical value as the serpent, and so that's apparently the significance of the in Numbers 21, Moses putting the serpent on the pole connects to like it's actually I've talked about this a lot, but it's in the first where we get the word dollar, so Thaler or whatever, the German, like the earliest coin that was called the equivalent of dollar was actually visualized Jesus on the cross on one side and a serpent on the pole on the other, and it said NU21 on the cross for when Moses put the serpent on the pole. That's the healing serpent, so to speak. So it's speculated is where we get the symbol for money, and then it also could relate to the lightning flash in the opposite direction. So lightning flash extends through the Kabbalistic tree, and then in return you have the serpent moving up the tree. So like we're speaking to Leviathan, it's right in line with that. So yeah.
You guys were talking about Chevron. Andrea, I just sent you another link, another post.
Also, really quickly, Giant sends us $5. Thank you, or 50. Dang,
Damn, Giant.
wow, dude.
Well,
Earlier
from
he was gonna
missing the
say,
show.
yeah, exactly. He said he couldn't make it, but he was also saying like, let him know that I send love, or like, what did he say? It was so much more like obvious. Like, I don't even have to let him know that because you literally are that. Tell everyone that I send my good vibes and love. It's like, yeah, that's literally what Giant does. Giant is constantly sending good vibes and love. Sorry, thank you. That's awesome. But you were bringing up the Chevron logo. Oh no, you wanted me to pull up the.
Oh yeah, I just sent you another message on Twitter.
One sec, I'll find this.
So this is another. I posted it last week. So this is a discovery with the Space Force. You know Space Force, right?
Space Force.
There's 6 armed forces, the newly established Space Force.
This is what you sent me.
Which branched off from the Air Force is a sister.
This is what you sent me. I think this is not it.
Yeah, I clicked on it too. I couldn't find it.
Oh wait, it didn't. Oh shoot, hold on. Oh, it didn't. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Sorry. Let me try
Synchronous.
Okay, try one more time. Yeah, okay. Try to click on this one. It should get there.
Yeah, I think this is good. Yep.
There you go. Okay, so the Space Force, they have an official cap that came out, and you flip it upside down. Obviously, you see the head of Baphomet.
Oh, right. I love this.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyways, but in the comment, there's everybody kind of jumped in and discussed this but we talked about the Space Force logo, which is also Chevron. Like the Star Trek Chevron, and we talk about I'm trying to see what else we commented in there. But
those are pretty much historically military in most places you find them. It's used for rank all over the world. So, and I'm not sure why the comment. Now, if you look at those carefully, that's not an angle. Oh, look at that chevron symbol. Those are not angles. Those are ribbons that are bent.
Right.
They're arches.
Well,
So
wow. Yeah, look at that. You could totally see the
and when you look at sometimes they'll call just the simple post and lintel an arch, even though there's no arch.
It's also notoriously bad to do a symbol inverted like that. I don't know. I mean, like the inverted chevrons, like the inverted swastika. I don't know.
Okay, I'm trying to look up the etymology of chevron. Late 14th century in heraldry, a device in the shape of an inverted V from an Old French chevron, rafters, chevron, so called because it looks like rafters of a shallow roof.
Seriously,
vulgar. You can
right?
look into it. Goat. It says goat. Oh my God! See, here we go. Here's the connection there. The chevron is actually etymology is actually linked to the old Latin caper, which means goat.
Huh.
So there we have that Baphomet connection right there.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Let me drop the.
You find it? Oh, wow, that's crazy.
That's news to me, man. What a trip. So does this connect with the sigil of Baphomet, which is says Leviathan in Hebrew surrounding the goat head pentagram used by the LeVay's Church of Satan? Dude, put in sigil of Baphomet if you want to see one.
Yeah, it says with the Samael and the Lilith.
Well, so you have that the Roman numeral 5 is V, and there's 5 points on the pentagram as a point, right?
Leviathan, yeah. In the
there's a good one right there. The 5 and the V, Roman numeral 5. Does anyone get his visualization?
Go back to the symbol. Go back to the symbol. But you see it in his forehead.
So
right?
now one up and one down. It looks a lot like the Freemasons symbol, right?
Yeah,
right.
But you see the forehead. That isn't that the Leviathan symbol?
They call that, yeah. Apparently,
Yeah.
Church of Satan does. I don't know
That's
the
What, you're talking about the
ultimate,
Leviathan cross.
like, yeah. So is that like, so this is supposed to be a Templar symbol, but did the Templars actually call that the Leviathan cross? Because that would blow my mind if the double cross is referred to as that.
Well, it's
but,
also sulfur, right? Isn't it the symbol of sulfur?
The double cross
the
is the
symbol of
cross.
sulfur. The symbol of sulfur is a triangle with one
Oh,
cross in
that-
alchemy
that
traditionally.
too.
But I want to know. I don't know if that was used as an alchemical
cross of
symbol
Saint
for
Laurent.
sulfur beyond that, or
The cross of Saint Laurent is the double cross. I know
yeah,
that.
it's like
And
one of those. It's like one of those Wicca problems where it's like you're like trying to relate to, well, what is the origin of this symbol, and then you have like LeVay really gets in the way sometimes because you're like, are we dealing with the actual occult tradition, or are we dealing with more of like his own trip or whatever? You know, like I'm. You may notice if I talk about Antoine LaVey, I'm not very enthusiastic. I don't particularly care for the guy. I think he's I can't take it seriously. You know.
The funny thing is that my high school, I was having my high school reunion in San Francisco. I didn't go because it was my birthday. But my high school in San Francisco was right down the street from the original. It was on the Masonic Avenue or Boulevard. That's where the address of the original Church of Satan was.
Did you say San Francisco?
Yeah, San
Masonic Street?
Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's right near Haight-Ashbury. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just down the street. I didn't even
Yeah.
know if that was where the original Church of Satan.
Love on Haight Street. Yeah. I mean, there's also right around there, is it 19th Avenue, is where the insane asylum is that the Grateful Dead used to live in. So
we had a lot of gray hairs in my high school back in the
good neighborhood, right? Yeah.
It's tons of homeless hippies.
Could this have anything to do with Kundalini?
I mean, is he the serpent?
Yeah, totally. No, that's the thing is
because this to me could be like the tree of life, as in like the human body and like the coiled serpent.
right.
Perhaps.
Well, there's the lightning flash, and then the lightning flash in the other direction is a serpent. So if you'll probably find Patrick Sveck's blog of caverns if you put that in. But like if you type in like light 777 lightning flash serpent. Tree of life, anything like that, you'll get a visual of it. And so it's a sword. It's a sword that guards the Garden of Eden that's described in Genesis. So after they get expelled from the garden, there's a sword, and so they relate that the lightning flash is basically what's guarding the way of the tree of life. And so when we're relating to if you depict the tree of life, you're actually relating to the tree of knowledge, because that's the other tree, so to speak. But yeah, no, there's that whole idea. So the idea of the snake coming back in the other direction is very relatable to Kundalini. I think that's legitimate, because you're speaking to the emanated flow's return,
right?
And what other and then also that Leviathan is kosher. He gets eaten at the end of time, like he's the last of the Qliphoth to
does
remain.
The Leviathan, I don't know much about Leviathan. I'm gonna have to look into it, I guess, because
walk me through
familiar. It kind of reminds me of Ragnarok.
Walk me through Job. Isn't it in Job that they first talk about?
Yeah, so the behemoth also. Yeah.
And you know what? Here's another symbol from China. If you heard of Chinese Genesis, I show you this picture. I'm gonna upload it for you. Her name is Nuwa. She created humans from dirt, from mud. And hold on, I'm gonna upload the picture. But this is here we go. I'm gonna say, okay. Andreas, can I pull up? I just sent it in the message. But it's so this is Nuwa, and I forgot her husband. But basically, this is a Chinese Genesis where she's kind of like half serpent kind of deity, and and her husband and her would create this tangled double helix structure as well. And so I just find it very interesting. I feel like this is probably also like related to the Kundalini, the serpent winding up the column.
Yeah, the twin thing. Yeah, even the gunas reflect that same idea. Of the rope that strand. You say there's three, but there's really the one in the middle is kind of the balance between the two twisting poles. So,
the middle pillar.
but yeah, people. I can't help it. I have to look at the comments, and so it says Kundalini is demonic.
Yeah, somebody. I was looking at that too. It's like Kundalini is demonic.
But yeah, no, there's
God.
things you need to mention, I guess, if you're going to be talking about these. Because when you're talking about the pentagram, we're looking at the points of intersection of Venus with its own pathway as it moves through space. That's where, like, that's why the symbol of the pentagram is often associated with Venus, and then Venus with the morning star. And so it gets confusing then, because you're like, Jesus is referred to as the morning star, star of the morning. Lucifer is referred to as the morning star, star of the morning. I guess it's all a matter, like, so. Is Kundalini demonic? Like Kundalini is your life energy. If your life is demonic, then maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so it's.
Oh, good Lord!
But
really, did you guys ever watch that movie The Witch that came out in like 2015?
Yeah.
Well, the original Witch. I mean, the one in the 80s.
Is this a remake of something?
Yeah,
this is a revision.
Oh
basically.
no, this is different. This is different.
Yeah, so like what I liked about this movie was it was like, at first I thought, is this anti-Christian? Is it anti-Satanist? Is it just kind of revealing? I mean, it starts out like, by the way, like a baby dies, so all bets are off, and you don't know
exactly.
what's going to go on. So
is this Rob Eggers? Is that Robert Eggers?
I don't even know.
It's the guy that did.
Yes,
It's what else did he do after that? There was
The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's all tied together.
Good.
The thing is, great actors. These kids are amazing, and they do Shakespearean English, which is like
the
a huge
Queen's
thing.
Gambit lady right there.
But if you're looking for a scary movie, someone's asking like, what movies actually scare me? And like, I don't know. If this one kind of like had some moments there where I was like, yeah, I feel like 6. I don't really want to watch this, but I did, and it ends with the goat thing. I don't know. I don't want to be like full on. Spoilers,
whatever.
But like, just so you know, Baphomet's involved, and Baphomet asks, like, "Do you want butter or fame or like comfort?"
Yeah. So somebody asked, "Is Baphomet like a boogeyman or whatever?" But it's a large subject, and it doesn't go.
Baphomet's always friendly. Have you ever heard of Baphomet attacking anybody?
Yeah, he's kind of a conglomeration of different characters. The authority on Baphomet was Tracy Twyman, who has since passed. Rest in peace. But Tracy Twyman wrote books on Baphomet. If you look at the Wikipedia for Baphomet, you're basically looking at Jason Barrera and Tracy Twyman mostly. So they kind of covered it on Wikipedia. She was brilliant. Yeah.
Break down the word Baphomet again. I mean, it's in 3 syllables. What exactly? Like Baphomet, right?
Well, yeah, I forget. There's Jabalan. I could talk about that, but I forget the significance.
But what you got on Baphomet? I remember hearing so many things. Like, for one, was like that Knights Templar who had been Mazarabs in Spain, so they had studied Kabbalah and Bogomilism and Gnosticism, so they were considered Islamics by the Spanish, who were into hating anybody who wasn't part of the Paulician Church. So they said, these guys, they're clearly Satanists and whatever. And that they had acknowledged the existence of Baphomet, and that was like the first time they got it written down, like to admit the name Baphomet. And there's a lot of contention whether that's true at all, but the idea is that Baphomet was also the inversion of Pan, because we have Pan. Yeah, we'll go for it, Andy. Maybe you understand this
hunt, right?
No, continue with what you were going to say first.
Definitely. Well, like Pan's got like a dude's upper body and, like a human's upper body and animal's genitals and legs. Whereas Baphomet has the human, has the animal upper body and the human kind of reproductive organ and system and everything like that. So it's more of an animal driven thing. And it also the femininity, maybe more androgyny even, but the femininity, because there's breasts on Baphomet. Baphomet looks a lot like Bigfoot. Like Bigfoot has big breasts too.
Was it Eliphas Levi that did that classic image of him?
Yes.
I don't want to spread this info, but I thought he was responsible for that image that you most commonly see. Okay.
Yeah, and it's so symbolic. It's not literal by any means. It, like, a lot of people pointing to Baphomet talking about transgenderism, it's like not even close. Like that's taking things way too materialistically. I mean, this is a symbol of the forces of nature and the two sides of the coin,
Right. Well, where
basically,
do
balance and everything.
Yeah, Pan is the all, right? It's why you get
Pan
like
is the god
Pan
of
pizza,
nature,
pandemic, panorama, right? But
But
so like
his
that,
androgyny between like human form and animal form is basically like telling our story too, like the way we came up out of nature in a way.
Yeah,
What
it's a
is
continuum.
all this? What is all this Freemason denial of the riding the goat thing? You know, the rituals that they said never existed. You know the. Hey, you know what? I just uploaded some picture, just some recent ghost kissing with
Where
David. I just uploaded.
one sec, I'll find.
There's
Yeah,
a really
the Masons do have a lot. I was going to say the Masons do have a lot of rituals that revolve. Not all, you know, the Masons are not as I get older, the more aware I am that the Masons are a far more diverse group of people that are not always agreeing with each other and everything. But the Scottish Rite, you know, and a lot of the ones that are interested in Celtic mysticism do have some things about Pan that come up, you know. But so did Shakespeare, which is why. So kind of a thing.
The goat goes all the way back.
Is Pan has the gematria, Greek gematria of 77, and so how does it go? The she goat, which is also Oz, has the gematria 77 in Hebrew, and so there's the connection between the she goat in Hebrew and the Greek Pan having the same gematria. There's the connection of the scapegoat, where the scapegoat. That's great. Scapegoat ritual involved two goats. One goat is released, which is why we call it the scapegoat. That goat was actually being handed over to the kleepot. The other goat had a string attached to its leg before it's murdered. The string is cut in half. The other half of the string is attached to the temple door. If in 3 days after the goat's death, the string on the temple door, which was red, if it turns white, it means the goat took your sins with it. So it's argued that this is one of the bases of Christianity beyond the prophecy in the book of Isaiah, right? So like it's pretty bizarre. But then that actually relates to the Leviathan, because there's two Leviathans that are created, but the world wasn't big enough for both of them. And so one of them had to die. So that's basically like the scapegoat. And so it's weird as hell that like when you see that the sigil of Baphomet, that you see Leviathan around the goat head, because there seems to be a connection between the two Leviathan in the mythos, connecting to the two goats in the scapegoat ritual.
Do you think this has anything to do with the inverted tree, the Kleefalt?
I mean, the idea of inverting the tree is kind of silly in a way for me, because that's something that came later. So like people do this, they like to invert everything. You invert the pentagram, you invert whatever. But like the tree of life, like when the Kleepot rule through the 12 diagonals, so it's a dimensional thing. There's no like when people do that reversal of the tree, like I don't know. I have a hard time taking it seriously.
Okay. You know? Just to corroborate with what David was saying, Andreas, can you pull up this other post? I just sent in the message.
Not the goat ones, or did a new one?
No, this one's about.
This is pretty sweet. This is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I want to walk a goat around LA. This is brilliant. This is how you get photos taken of you.
This happened last month. So check out this post. So this was Post Malone. He fell off the stage. He was wearing a jersey 77, which is odd, like David. So I think you kind of hit it right on the spot. This is another ritual sacrifice. So I think he lost like 2 ribs with that fall.
The other god, On. So there's On and Oz. So you have Oz's strength. On is basically idolatry. This is why Crowley called strength lust, because he's depicting the other name, so to speak. So that has the gematria of 707. So Oz is 77, On is 707. It ties back with the classic like Jake Kotza thing, where he'd like turn the N of Oz to be like On or Oz. You know, it just happens to work.
So you're back to Stargates, know it or not.
Right.
So David, tell us a little bit about On, the god On. What? I mean,
it's
Heliopolis.
It's the eye, one of the eyes of Ra or whatever. So yeah, if you just like I came to this just from not like a couple years ago or something. I was looking at Jabalon, the Masonic Trinity. And so I'm like, okay, Jah, I got that. Tetragrammaton. Baal, okay, that makes sense. And then On, and I was like, what the hell is On? And if you follow it through, it's the Hebrew for Heliopolis. So Heliopolis is Greek. On is the Hebrew for it. It relates to the eye of Ra. So there you'll see, city of the sun.
But here you see it's Coptic. Yun. So like basically everybody had something. Like the Hebrews said that, the Arabs and the Proto-Semitics and they all had Aramaic. They all had a way of saying basically.
Right. But the significance from the Masonic Trinity comes from the Hebrew On, which I think is like Ayin Vav Nun or something. Whatever. I could figure it out with the gematria for it to equal 707. But yeah.
There's also Sumerian and Babylonian Anu, and that's leads to the Anunnaki, that symbolism there. Not aliens, but it's all maybe we're talking about the same thing, just different culture, but
right.
It's all this, it's the penultimate god in those cultures.
Right. Well, yeah, it relates to this. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Virgil, sorry. I think somehow he got dropped. What did you say?
Yeah, that's what I get for trying to look up an image. I navigated away again on accident.
What's the image you wanted? Let me try to find it for you.
So, On, Anu, Sumerian, Akkadian.
Yep.
Just that. It'll come up.
Anunnaki.
Anu.
And then you have the Armenian Highlands and Scythia with the Tuatha De Anu.
What's our great bearded bro with a feather doing with that goat?
No, okay. Add the word cuneiform.
Okay.
Oh, there you
go.
Cuneiform. That's so close.
You got it.
Right. So this is the star symbol, the sky symbol, the God symbol. And you're not getting there. Yeah, I can't see much of your screen. I gotta enlarge you there. I'm not seeing it anywhere. I mean, like it pops up immediately when I do this. Okay. I just enlarged my screen and it's black. Okay, there we go.
Anu, cuneiform, the
There we go.
Dinger.
There we go.
This is the symbol. The symbol's called the Dinger or the Dinger, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's both. It's On, Anu, Dinger. Dinger or Dinger, however. I've heard some interesting pronunciations of that one. But it means literally God. On and Anu was the name of the god, you might say. If you were a Sumerian or Akkadian monolatrist, you were probably worshiping On Anu at the top, the shepherd god. Orion, by the way, same constellation. So now if you look at that,
we got another super chat here. Steph and Kalen, cold-blooded goat must sunbathe to thermoregulate. I showed that a second ago, but I didn't read it. And then Giant again, $50. Thank you, buddy. Goats, gatos, gators, gates. So cats and goats and gators and gates, like all connected.
All in the G.
Yeah.
The third letter in the Hebrew alphabet, the third I.
And it's interesting. Dinger has that G in it. Yeah. Sorry, Eddie.
Speaking of annual, it's also like annual, right? Like in Spanish, the year annual, and also anno lucis, the Freemason calendar.
Yeah, I think clear etymological connections that aren't really identified. These are like you find a lot of connections between English and Egyptian, and everybody's like, "Oh no, nothing."
I gotta, dude. Something's tripping me out. I just realized when we went for a walk one time. I don't remember what it was. Was it the Sync Summit or something? And we were talking about the Pentagon. And so right now I'm just like, I'm kind of having a real, because when I first met Andreas, he was doing visuals for Nexus, and he had the Pentagon going to a pentagram with a goat head in it behind Rainbow Bright on a horse and moving in front of it. But yeah, no, I just remember we had a conversation about the Pentagon several years back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's hard to avoid going there when you're talking sync with me. I mean, sooner or later, it's where it all began for me. So yeah, sorry, I'm wandering. Yeah. I've given up on my laptop and I'm just going casual here with the phone and wandering around.
Phones work pretty well, actually.
Huh?
Those work pretty well, actually. They're better.
Yeah,
probably
it
better.
does seem to be more reliable. I don't know why the laptop was cutting out. I never have internet service problems with it, but that's what it was saying. It was without connection. But anyhow,
Government, man.
so I want to relate this sign on Anu, Dinger, God, sky, star, fish in Egyptian. Actually.
Ooh, good call.
So if you just think about the 8 chevrons on the Stargate, and you think about CERN with their 8-sided deal, and you think about the Masonic cross, which kind of turns out to be 8 sides, 8 lines rather than 4. You see, because you have the angles, just like a cuneiform. But in this cross, we have 4 angles, right? If you just take a look at how using these triangular form divots in clay, this is how it looked, right? You had an angle, you had a sharp end on one side and a dull end on the other, like little triangles, right? And they're all crossing each other. And it just so happens to be, though, that if you were to like pick them up individually, like say they're really long little triangular things, right? You pick them up and rearrange them, then you make the Masonic cross. If you put them down in a different order where things are even, so you have a triangle, the end of a triangle on either side. There's this weird thing in Nimbin, Australia, where the fish symbol for Christians went berserk in 1973. There should be a few bells going off with the 173 deal there. But in 1973, in Nimbin, Australia, the fish was reborn into popular usage. And it's hard to just like keep to one topic because this goes in all kinds of directions. I don't know if you're going to find this if you were to look up Nimbin, Australia. It's kind of obscure stuff. Took me a while to find all this information. I wish I had it. The laptop was working. I could just show you. But one of the symbols they used, now this was like a Woodstock event in Australia, okay? And there was a Christian guy named John Deisendorf who went there, and he brought the Christian fish symbol with him, and with Sydney, the Sydney Christian Club, Sydney University Christian Club. So they're
at least for Nimbin in Australia, this Freemasons hotel picture comes up. So
right, of course,
it's like a bunch of arid street rat Australians. Look at this; they're all hippies.
This was the 60s, 70s kind of movement, right? With just hippies were all over the place on the streets, and it's kind of like the closest we've ever gotten to it now is Occupy, that kind of crap. But that was just a dirty mess. Well, in the 60s, they had more of a clean kind of sexual thing going on. For us, it was just, I don't know what the hell we were doing. We were just complaining, just bitching. But okay, so in the symbol that they used for their flyers for this whole event, there's a very similar image, and you can actually see how it actually forms mermaids. And so I don't have it to show you, and it's not likely you're actually going to find that image. You would have to
obscure,
whatnot. It's hard to find. Yeah, I've been through hours and hours of footage and imagery from this event back then. Most of it's modern now. It's hard to find the old stuff.
I'm trying to remember what the symbol for the process church was, because that feels relatable, man.
Okay, that's not the one I'm looking for, but that is one of the flyer.
Process
symbols.
Church had that weird thing. This is what, remember?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Form similarity in that, right?
Mm-hmm. Two T's, a T above and a T below.
They've been playing with that all along, and you know, you get the people who are like, oh, look at the Catholic bishops with their mitre hats. You know, looks like a fish, and then other people are like, oh, there's no connection there. There's no connection at all.
Right.
In St. Peter's Square, an 8-spoked wheel, squaring the circle and all. You know, if you do an aerial shot of St. Peter's Square, you see that 8-spoked wheel. You see the Christians in early times were using the 8-spoked wheel to represent Jesus and God through the word fish. If you take the Greek letters for the word ichthys, which is Greek for fish, and superimpose them, you come up with this 8-spoked wheel. It's what they were using literally as an acronym symbol for the word Jesus Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior are the words that it makes up. Out of
Oh,
the
is that the one that's equals 888? Is this the common usage in the gospel when they refer to Jesus? Isn't one of the most common phrases total 888? That's where that.
I think it's a different specific phrasing of Jesus, I think, but it's doing the same thing. And it's bringing this 8 up again.
You know,
Right.
I did that
Go ahead.
post with Jesus in gematria in the simple gematria is 444, and Lucifer is also 444. Added together is 888.
You're saying the Greek for the anointed one of Christos, or you saying Yeshua with the Hebrew? I forget. how that
Well,
goes.
just an English Jesus.
Lord Christ is 444 in simple gematria. Omega God Christ. I don't know if Jesus is. Let me look up Jesus.
Okay, I'm
So
gonna print it out so you see.
Two.
Jesus is 444 in simple gematria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Same with Lucifer. Lucifer is also 444.
Angled 4, right? If you
In
take two.
English gematria, both of them. That's weird.
Yeah. So it almost feel like there's the opposite. They're the same. You know, I would say
the sun.
the light bringers. Here you go.
Yeah.
Chris, what
It's the
are
same
you're
thing.
you're
sorry, Chris.
about to drop something.
So if you take 2 4s, well, just start with 1, mirror it, right? Reverse it both ways, horizontally and vertically, then put them together so that they match, the endpoints match, right? You end up with what looks like 2 triangles pointing at each other, right? Or say a time glass, right? So it's a direct reference to time. Now, if you were to take a picture of the moon once a day for 30 days. No, I'm sorry, once a week. I don't remember how this works exactly, but the point is, an annulus is when you take a picture of the sun at the same point in time every day of the year or once a month, and you end up with a figure 8 in the sky. You do the same thing with the moon through its cycle. You end up with an 8 in the sky. So this 8, 8 in the 4s coming together to make kind of an 8 shape that looks like, the timepiece. It's all really interestingly coming together.
That's interesting. It's tying back to the sigil that we were looking at with the Templar cross and the Leviathan whatever I don't know how far back that goes. They call it that. Yeah, that's interesting because that's like the Templar cross above a sideways 8. It's interesting. I don't know.
So take a 2. This is a little bit tangent. We get back to the fish, and that you're going there with the Leviathan all the time. So that works fine. If you take a 2, mirror it only horizontally, and then superimpose them, you get a fish. 2 fish.
Right. You get
So you got reverse 2 right there. Put a regular 2 right over it, superimposed. Fish.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying in it. Okay, because recently on this podcast we were talking about the Jupiter alchemical symbol that you can form a heart if you reverse that and bring them together. But you're talking about like going all the way. That's really interesting. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I've been playing with them for a while. You got to check everything.
Word.
And fish just keeps coming up. So God Anu is a fish god. They call them the Apkilu, I think is the word you can look up. And you see all these fish god folks. Anu is supposedly one of them. Of course,
Apkilu, like Apkiller? Apkalu. There we go.
Hey, Pope, the Dogan called. They want their hat back.
Pretty good outfit, though, you gotta admit. Anybody dressed like that's gonna get.
Yeah. Hey, Chris,
you ever call these Dogon?
Yeah, the Dogon. Yeah.
Dogon is crazy. I mean, once you go Dogon, things get really weird. Okay, so
Dogon is really serious, wasn't it? As serious as
that's what they say. Yeah, they say that they were looking at this particular tribe and what they knew about both stars of Sirius before. But that's a whole debatable thing as far as I understand it.
I'm pretty sure they did. The reason that they debate that is basically racism, right? So, because the deal is, how is it possible that how is it possible that this group of people could have possibly known how to see something that they don't have a telescope for.
I think it's because they're going by one man's interpretation of their trip,
No,
right?
what it was the Bay of Pigs situation. So they brought a bunch. Let me see if I can find this article. So the Bay of Pigs, what's it called? Where you drop off a bunch of pigs on an island, and then the next year you come back and all the islanders have gotten parasites and mind controlled. Because that's what they did. There's a name for this: pig parasite, pig brain parasite. What is this called? And then
you clearly have something to add that you're just itching to share. I want to hear your.
Oh.
yeah, Chris, jump.
Back around to Stargates through the pig because there's a pearl. Never mind.
Hey, Andreas, can you pull up
You're allowed. Go for it.
Hey, Andreas, I just sent you a picture about the fish. I want to pick Chris's brain about this because I've been observing. Can you pull up, Andreas? It's in the Twitter.
Turn you up. You're quiet.
Yeah, so we're talking about merfolk here, right? Fish people. In the movie, there's a whole bunch of these like in Megamind, there's that fish tank, and
That's
then,
Omega.
So it's basically all these weird characters with fish inside a robotic body in the fish tank.
In a tank.
Yeah.
That's Alpha and Omega. The fish is Alpha. The lowercase Greek Alpha is a fish shape. Okay.
Mhm.
The Omega is the upside down jug that has poured the fish out.
Oh, trippy.
I
I
didn't think of it that way.
Never heard that. I like that.
Because I do you know Freeman TV? So I've been listening to him. He talks a lot about merfolk and Dogon tribe and all that stuff, and you're basically saying that these are the people from the sea who actually brought technology to mankind. And so when I see these characters in all these movies with the fish in a robotic suit, I'm like, is that trying to talk about the ones that you just showed, the people in fish suits, that the bearded humans with fish suits. So I don't know. I just want to show you that to see what you think about it.
I think it tracks on like a an antiquity level when it comes to this. We all talk about like a seafaring international kind of nation that was in existence a long time ago.
The maritime.
And it's like we have this, we have the Enki and Enlil in Sumerian symbolism. It's very like land and sky based versus the sea based, and like we can look at this in history how we have these kind of two different cultures where it's like very land based versus this seafaring culture, and they're different and they interact, and it's kind of like the Nephilim story, the sons of God coming down and laying with the daughters of man. Like that whole idea is basically, once again, we have this descent from heaven, or this traveling from the north down to the south.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that the fish. Oh, jeez, I lost my thought all of a sudden. Yes.
Notice the bag, the gourd.
Oh, the bag. What is that bag? What is that bag? Can you explain what that bag is?
Everybody's got a bag. Why does everybody have a bag? Bucket, bag, who knows? I've heard a lot, read a lot. Nobody knows. We don't know. I mean,
well, it'll be like one hand will be holding the cone, the pine cone.
That you're going to find many different cultures around the world carrying bags.
Yeah.
But there's something about that. That's more than a bag. That's like either a nice purse or what you put your bowling ball in. There's something kind of technical. Look at his watch on his wrist. There's a bit more tech to this. I always think about the rosary as a keychain. It must have been designed to look like an alien spaceship keychain. We've got the key that's across, and then you got all these little beads around it. I think it's the same. These pictures are trying to tell us this guy used to spend a lot of time underwater. Like in that movie, The Abyss, these are the aliens that come from below, where it's a lot more convenient to come out of shoal, and yeah.
And I just heard that some soldier was being interviewed. They're basically saying the Navy are the ones who saw the UFOs the most because these spacecraft are plunged into the ocean. More than any other armed forces, the Navy see them the most.
Space is in the ocean. How do we like do this? Like, isn't it obvious that submarines in space? If you could just get your submarine through a Stargate, the most convenient way to get it there would be in the ocean, right? Realistically. So how do we look at that shoal?
I remember what I was trying to say about fish, about ocean, because well, if you look at the Pope wearing the fish hat, right, and the whole thing about maritime amity law, right, the most important law of commerce, right, were the canon law, the Roman canon law,
The law of the sea.
Yeah, it's all about it's the law of the sea. It's the unbreakable law. I mean, you want to do trading between countries over the oceans, you have to abide to that, otherwise there's no trading to be talked about. And it's the most ancient of all laws, really.
There were the magicians, right? Because you could go off. There's something very mysterious about the people who could go out to sea and come back with exotic things, and they're like, where did this come from? And so I guess you could argue that space could be the equivalent of that somehow. If we ever got to the point where people are bringing back weird shit from other,
Well, it's funny thing, because now China, U.S., and Russia, everybody's trying to do this race back to the moon, right? So all of a sudden people decided, oh wait, America was the only dominant force that got to the moon, allegedly. And now China is trying to have a piece of the pie, and there's no law. They have not drafted
piece of the pie in the sky.
Yeah, but it's like lawlessness, up there. And if you look at a movie, what's the one with Brad Pitt? The Ad Astra, right? In that movie, it basically introduced that problem. It's like there's space pirates, the Chinese space pirates. Well, even in Space Force, the TV series talk about that.
Yeah.
It's like free for all. People are.
Dude, did you ever watch Space Truckers? Like with Dennis Hopper? Space Truckers is so great. What a great movie. I don't really have a good synchronicity or anything for it. I just wanted to tell you how
Okay, that's cool.
It's basically the product of a bunch of people being like, you know how like in Alien they're all like space truckers? Yeah, just picture that.
Yeah, just admit it. Just admit it.
Great.
Just deal with the fact that you're space truckers. Just like accept it. Well, also the cubic pigs. I bet you could take that to like an octagonal place, but
I wonder if they stand up for the people against the imperial powers by causing traffic jams.
all right. No, they just would embargo the space sex toys. That was the
No, that's pretty good though. I like that. That's like you got the convoy, the space convoy.
Okay, so what's going on? Who's flipping around these images?
That'd be me.
Oh,
I was just
Andreas.
looking at it because I saw the thing you were looking at here. I mean, somehow Anu lent me to the doggone star symbol, which is connected to the dinger. And when I think of the dinger, I think of the Chi-Rho because Catholics can't help it. And then I thought, hey, what's with the peacock feathers above NBC? That's where I got.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay, but what is this? What are we looking at?
This is the doggone star symbol connect next to this. Here, I'll go to this website, serious-star.ro, Romania. And they've got their, according to the doggone, and I know you're not supposed to call them the doggone star, but I always thought that was adorable. That doggone star.
Wait to go there.
That's totally the dog days, yeah.
Those doggone stars.
No, this is part of why this is so weird. Why? Okay. Let's go back to the other Dagon, right?
Dagon.
Mm-hmm.
Dagon is not a fish god. As far as we could tell, it's a wheat and grain god. The reason why people attach it to the fish god symbols that we see, some of them we don't have names identified for. That's one of the reasons they're going, oh, this is an unidentified image. This is an unimaged identity. Let's put them together. But one more reason is dag means fish in Hebrew. So they thought it must be the Philistines' god that stole the ark. They're the fish worshippers, right?
There's a lot in that symbol because there's a fish and there's a peacock. You could maybe not, but I'm imagining between the two pillars is all of nature, and then the grain is part of this connection of all season. Like it requires both of them to work. You have to have the fish and the birds.
I'm hearing your audio.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can anybody hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Maybe you need to reset yourself. But if I tell him that, you can't hear me say it.
Hey, I don't mean to go off the
That's
subject,
just you.
but hey, I just uploaded this something might be interesting to talk about. Look at the message, Andrea.
Okay, can you hear me better now though, Chris?
Yeah, it's a little better. There's just a lot of crackling coming only from your mic.
Huh? I don't know. Here, I'll
Well, your mic sounds okay.
Okay, maybe it's just maybe there's something else going on your side. But I was just saying that maybe the entire system of nature is represented by like the grain god because it's like famine versus plenty or something, and it requires birds and fish to like bring. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Isn't
Like the fish
there
for the
isn't there an argument that the Chiro cross comes from the Caduceus? That there's a Caduceus connection? I feel like Caduceus with a C, yeah.
No, not Caduceus.
No, but there's an article I saw that was relating to Dr. Seuss that made the connection between how that because it's the RX symbol where we get like the medical like RX relates to the Caduceus, but the RX relates to the Chiro. So there's a whole thing going on there. I forget, but it's Pax, right? It's peace. It's
so the Tauro is going to be probably more important there. I mean, so it's like they all relate to each other in some sort of a way, but the Tauro kind of fills in a lot more blanks because we generally know a lot about the Chiro. But let me lay out this thing about Dagon, because we got the first part of the word. Dag means fish in Hebrew, but we were talking earlier about what An means.
Right.
It means fish. Yeah. It's Egyptian. And nobody cares about that part. Nobody's mentioning that. They just, Dag means fish in Hebrew, so Dagon must be a fish god. What about the fact that An means fish in Egyptian? And hey, they are kind of neighbors.
Right.
Weird. Nobody points that out, but they're all about the Hebrew side. So really interesting to me that the people who make that connection, right or wrong, are ignoring this other connection, which is just as valid.
Right. And also when we say God in the first place, like it gets kind of weird because that's not necessarily like there's the issue of the other God. Like when I was saying on is idolatry, Oz is the integrity of organic life. You know, it's the structure of the lightning flash and the structure of the tree and the structure of us. It's the Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence is referenced in Genesis where Adam and Eve exit the garden when you divide that by the gematria of, I believe is it Yitzchayim or is it the tree of knowledge? I forget, but there's an effect you can do. It's referenced in the movie Pi, but they're misleading in the movie because they actually say if you take the gematria of the garden and it's not the garden, it's the tree in the garden or where they left, the direction with which they left. But yeah, no, there's a whole thing there. But yeah, point being, you have the actual the dynamics of the organism itself communicated, and then you have what it is that we build and when we worship what we build and the problems involved in that. So that's kind of what Crowley was communicating when he said all the letters in the book are right, but Sadi is not the star, in reference to the Book of Thoth, which is really just the alphabet, Hebrew alphabet. I guess people might
42 books of Thoth, right?
Well, there's 42 principles of Ma'at, right, which is also associated with the peacock feather, which is interesting.
Also the Yazidi associate. Yeah, right. You got that.
Supposed to be ostrich.
Malek, what's it called?
Ostrich. Yeah, it probably is ostrich. Yeah, I think you're right.
Twili Malek. What's the name of the thing? I'm always bad at this. That thing, right? You know, the Yazidi angel. So the idea that the Yazidi are they believe in a Shaitan, which is like the accuser who accuses God of not being just, and then cries a tear, which becomes the egg, which shatters open the world, and that Shaitan's trapped in their own tear and their own egg, but they're also here to help us because whatever. Then that really offends Isis, right?
Is this the origin of Orphic egg also? Is connected to the Orphic egg?
I have an argument about the Orphic egg I've talked on here before about. I think that actually relates to what extended. It's referenced in the Zohar as a green line that spirals, that extends around the planet that started in Aden. So it's like this is from the tree of knowledge. It relates as a serpent that basically entwined the planet. And so I wonder if the egg is a reference to that something is being gestated and born that's as yet unknown, that's behind the shell, so to speak, that's enshrouded. And so it's speaking to something's being enveloped that over time will give birth to something, who knows what the hell, I guess.
You know what the Aruv is? Have you guys ever seen this thing? Have you been to New York City? You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So in New York, so in New York, they've got this plate. Let me just read the article. The wire that transforms much of Manhattan into one symbolic home, the Aruv, a nearly invisible holy boundary, must be intact for every Friday. The idea here is that Solomon had to carry some stuff while he was building his temple, and he had a couple technicalities that as long as the wire from the building extended out, it was technically still in the proximity of the temple, so he didn't break any rules, because as long as you're walking underneath this wire, you're walking under the construction of the temple. So you can still carry your keys. You might be able to do certain things you're not allowed to do on other days. Every Thursday and Friday morning, Rabbi Moshe Tauber leaves his home in Rockland County, New York at about 3:30 a.m. He arrives in Manhattan an hour later and drives a 20-mile length of nearly invisible series of wires that surrounds most of the borough. He starts at 126th Street in Harlem and drives down, hugging the Hudson River most of the way to Battery Park. Known as an Aruv, the wire is a symbolic boundary that allows observant Jews to carry out a range of ordinary activities otherwise forbidden on Shabbat. So it's the same idea of this like wire that keeps them safe.
Is that somehow like, I'm thinking Philippe Petit, the guy who put the wire between the two towers and the placement of what would be the pathway of Chet between Chesed and Gevurah. So yeah, that's crazy.
Right. That's an interesting. I don't know why
What's
no
with
one.
the wire?
What's with the wire? What's with the wire? You know.
It's the detonators. The detonators. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty weird, right? It's pretty weird, but it's an important thing because technically it's true, and this exists in other places. And this is a huge wire that costs, I think it's like $1 million a year to maintain, or I don't know exactly.
So we're dealing. Okay, hold on. Just so Solomon is told David is told not to build the thing. Solomon, his son, goes ahead and builds it. And his argument that he had to get around because it said that the temple wouldn't be built by human hands was that he took the materials from another place and brought them over. So somehow this loophole connects to this wire thing. It's like you're told not to do something and you're like, oh, but if we jimmy rig it, isn't this kind of like the essence of the issue of Liber L in the first place, where it's like everything's right, everything's perfect in the creation, but there's this one issue. Maybe we can kind of,
tweak a little bit here and there.
I got a fun one. Baby Squirrel says this guy thinks we live on a planet. I just really quickly want to do a thing for you. Planet geometry. Because when people say planet, I don't think they really get what planet geometry is. I got a couple episodes on this, so I'm not going to extend the rant. But you can be thinking about the flat Earth, especially with astrology. It actually makes astrology. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if that's your thing, like it's not going to change anything for you at all. Because as far as I can tell, they don't. That doesn't change anything at all. All right.
You know what? I don't know if I want to go back to the Tau cross thing. I just sent you something just happened earlier this week. Can you look up the link I sent you?
Jump in there now.
In the Twitter. So Elle Fanning, you know Elle Fanning, the actress,
right? Not personally.
Yeah. But can you pull up so they can see?
I'm trying.
Okay. So basically, she on the magazines all over the place saying that she's trying to dress up as Britney Spears for Halloween.
Oh yeah.
So we know the Tau cross with the serpent, right? So I don't know. I feel like this is a ritual going on.
Yeah, like she's dressed up like Britney, but who's Britney dressed like, right?
Thank you. That's the thing.
Okay, so hear me out. So this happened on October 2nd, which is Jack Parsons' birthday. So Britney Spears, when she did it on the MTV Music Awards, that was the 2001 MTV Music Awards, which took place on September the 5th, a week before 9/11. Okay, so And also the same award ceremony also handed the rock and roll award to Limp Bizkit, who
Wow.
song "Let's Roll," or the Rolling, right?
Rolling, the urban version where they filmed it on the Twin Towers. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know that guy said, "Let's roll." Now, flight 93, right to Lima. So,
Dude.
so this whole thing is like, I don't know. I have a really bad feeling that whatever else.
I mean, why would they shoot so many music videos on the freaking top of the Twin Towers? Like, I remember in the 1999, 2000, it was this huge, big deal to have your music video shot on top of the Twin Towers, I guess. All the big guys were doing it. And it was so lame. And then afterwards, Fred Durst, who I think is cool because he owns a jazz club in LA, and good for him, you know. But he says, I'm so sorry that we did this, that we shot a music video on this building.
Let's watch it. I mean, in the comment, go back to my post. The comment I put the video. I guess you should have no problem playing it.
The Daily Paper or where?
Keep going. It should be at the bottom. The biscuit is going to explain. Wait. Let me see.
This is it, yeah. Video isn't available anymore. Look what you've done. You had to go and show the world, didn't you, Eddie?
Yeah, everybody's watching us right now. They all just went and clicked over to that.
All right, here we go.
Let's listen to this.
Got 125. It's not bad. Some people are watching. I don't think the audio is going to come through, will it?
Let's see. No.
I'll just tell you what it says. Is that Limp Bizkit would have been the distinct honor last band to shoot a video on the freaking Twin Towers. And, you know, don't get me wrong. It was kind of a cool song. And I like new metal. I mean, I'll listen to this album all the way through. But let's see here. Hockey. Wes Borland, great guitarist. Let's give him some credit there. Seems like a bit of sarcasm. Everyone had to look over it. Took place September 6, 2001. He would reveal in an interview that the band received a letter from the World Trade Center congratulating them on September 10th. Right. And then the next day was gone. I remember all this. Yeah. And then, so after this was crazy because in all of these angsty, like, what do you call yourselves? Generation Xers. The Generation Xers, they were all like, oh man, Rage Against the Machine needs to like get skim milk. You know, we got to really calm it down. I'm going to stop smashing pumpkins. I'm going to listen to Zwan now. I'm going to be Zwan. I'm going to identify as Zwan. I don't know what that means, but do you guys remember that Zwan? That was the other thing, like smashing pumpkins. After September 11th, they're like, we're like no longer upset anymore, and we love everyone, and we're Zwan. We're Zwan. We love you. That was a weird time to be alive. That was the thing I was the most scared about when September 11th happened. I was mostly, and I knew people like, because everyone has family who have somebody who died. I knew like 6 people in different directions who died because of September 11th, and the thing that was like, I was like, oh, this is horrible. But then like a month later, I was like, oh, this is really bad because all of society is about to change. You know, that was the scariest thing you could tell. Everyone's like, we got to do something. It's like, no, you don't. Just keep going. Don't let it make you reactionary. And everyone was
shopping.
Well,
no shopping. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So back to why I want to show that Elle Fanning thing. It's almost like they're bringing out a whole nother ritual that with the war in Russia is getting a little desperate. You know, Putin is about to push he already sent out these nuclear launchers near the border. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna make some kind of crazy false flag. I don't know what it's gonna be, but just
we're due.
We do.
Did you watch that movie with her sister Dakota Fanning in 2009? The heck was it? Shot in China, in Hong Kong.
It's not with Denzel Washington.
The push. No, it's with the guy who's not Ryan Gosling. It's the guy who's not Ryan Gosling. Let's see. The push.
It looks like him, but it's not guy.
It is the guy who thinks he is Ryan Gosling and often gets away with pretending to be him. It's Chris Evans. No offense.
Captain America?
No offense to Captain America. I mean, I think that's not what I was trying to get at. I'm just saying, here's this movie you have to see about MKUltra. Okay.
That's very unpatriotic of you.
Yeah.
No offense to Captain America. It's almost a Canadian thing to say.
Look at the other cover. The first one you showed?
Where we go? This one? No, the spinning
No.
one.
Speaking
No.
of Captain America, the new movie of Captain America is called New World Order.
Did I go?
Yeah, I saw
Did I
that.
went-
There
did I
you go.
go? You're talking about this thing here?
Yeah.
This is a different thing, but still, we'll look at it. Hold on. Open your picture, Google Duck.
This isn't the same movie you're talking about.
No, this looks like it's something else.
Like a
That
book?
looks like, yeah. But the Push 2009 is about these Nazi like foundling orphans that were genetically modified, and then after the war, everyone divides up the program, and they have groups called Division, and the Division controls all the super soldier Ubermensch kids all over the world. And the ones that can just go to Hong Kong, because then they just get away, right? Because you're in Hong Kong, you're kind of in an inner zone, like a William Burroughs inner zone for a while. Although that's about to end in 2009, which is a big poignant part of the show. And this 13-year-old girl finds Chris Evans and is like, dude, we got to go rescue one of the other, pushers, because there's pushers, and each one of these kids, like one of them is a mover. They like move objects, telekinesis. And another one's a reminder or whatever, like will change your mind to make you remember. A pusher, though, will push thoughts into your head and be like, hey, you know me. Remember? We've always known each other, and like you can control their minds and like make them forget who they are and like think they're somebody else or something like that. But it's a great movie, especially because I didn't exaggerate. Like the beginning of the movie is literally just Dakota Fanning saying, like we were taken from the Nazis and put in Hong Kong. It's basically that movie.
Yeah, just a little interesting sync there in that you're looking at a show about psychic powers, psyche, right? And as you're getting to it, this image with the same title, Push, shows up with the typical Rorschach butterfly symbol, which represents psyche.
Right. This is a mother-daughter angel monster, the Push. But
Do you know that it's if anybody shares an actual Rorschach image that's used for the Rorschach test, they stand to lose their license if they're a psychiatrist or psychologist. It's very
Really?
protected. So if you ever see them being represented in media or whatever, it's extremely rare that you're looking at an actual Rorschach test. So interesting bit of info. It's very protected,
I don't follow that. What do you mean actual?
Like
I mean,
Rorschach.
there's the way that the Rorschach tests work is that they have a set of very specific ink blots, and people's response to those ink blots, they have a set understanding of how to see what's going on with them or whatever. It's not like they're just like, oh, here's a random image. They're very specific. I think you met Amy. Amy was she got her PhD as a psychologist. Was she when I met you at the summit? She went to one of them. I can't remember, but anyway, does
it have anything to do with like left, right brain?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, she was very like meh, whatever to the Rorschach thing when she first started looking at it, and then by the end of it, she was like, wow, this is phenomenal. So she like swears by it.
Javier Fernandez, you see what? It's a blob. This guy's nuts. Do you guys ever see? You remember What About Bob? And he's talking about.
What do you see when you look at the sex? He goes, oh, I see your problem. You're obsessed with sex. No, you're the one showing me all the dirty pictures.
It's funny. I just don't remember what I saw at Game of Thrones. That I forgot who to quote. But basically, they talk about I talk about the ancestral relationships in this series, and somebody was bringing that up, saying incest causes mutation, causes psychic abilities. Children. No, really. I
Okay.
I got to backtrack and see which episode was talking about that. I'm like,
that'd be like the one positive in the whole mess, though, right? Like, I'm pretty sure, mostly not awesome thing.
The inbreeding of the
I can see the Germans in the
Habsburgs.
I can see the Germans in the 30s and 40s pushing this though. Like, no, it's a good thing. Look, hear me out. Yeah, I don't know.
Hear me out.
I looked at the episode. It's just like, what are you talking about? Are they promoting that?
I mean, actually, the thing is that that's been up on everything recently. Rick and Morty, Beth. What is the recent one? Beth recently, in space. Beth had an affair, right? It was basically it was basically her masturbating, but she was her clone in her had an affair. And then there was another. There's all kinds of this is going on all the time in media now. They seem to be pushing incest and stuff.
This is a weird case because you have the clone thing, so it's like the Rorschach. Like I relate that with the two pillars of the temple. That you have the thing, and then you have the perfect copy that isn't as perfect as it might seem, and it's because it's not because it's a copy. And when you have a copy of a copy and a copy of a copy of a copy, you know yeah.
I think that's exactly what Joseph Mengele was doing. You know, the whole twin experiment, the mirroring of the genetics, and
there was something crazy that happened with it where I wish I had the words for this, but at one point Baruch was he was listening to some science talk, and they were describing the way in genetics everything is kind of moves in one it's one twist, and when you try to mirror it you end up with like mutation that's like doesn't work. Like in organisms they've tried to like mirror the is it the chromosomes, the DNA? How does that work? The yeah. I don't know. I fall short. I'm not a scientist, but there's an experiment that happened where they were like, what if we replicate this and do the reverse? And they found that it didn't work because actually everything's all one movement. You can't I don't know.
You can't have symmetry with that.
This kind of actually there was a new article that just came out saying that the Y chromosome is disappearing. You know, the male chromosome. And I don't know what's going on. I think, but they're basically
going the same way as the redheads, man. It's on its way out.
That's kind of nuts. What? Let's read this. Physics.org. The Y chromosome is disappearing. What will happen to men? The Y chromosome may be a symbol of masculinity, but it is becoming increasingly clear that it is anything but strong and enduring. Although it carries the master switch gene. No, I'm just kidding. SRI that determines whether an embryo will develop as male XY or female XX. It contains very few other genes and is the only chromosome not necessary for life. Dude, who wrote this?
Oh my god!
Yeah, by Sandy Fleming. Thanks a lot, Dr. Sandy Fleming.
Why is that picture there? What are they doing with this?
I don't know, but I have the worst possible sync of my life right now. Is the Hocus Pocus?
Here's the worst sync. Okay, next year is 2024. You know what year that is, right? You know the future sci-fi movie. You know, there's a chart.
Right.
Next year is a year of men, children of men. You know,
there you go.
Men.
Yeah.
Right.
Where people will no longer be able to breed properly through sexual intercourse. You know,
so that's fun. Yeah.
No, so I feel like they're just step by step they're getting there. They're trying to eliminate.
Sounds like utopia.
Oh my god.
No,
that's so weird.
Paternal control.
Yeah, I'm pretty much convinced that like any of this whole like if you get your animal neutered, I think that's in order to like desensitize you to having yourself vasectomy and neutered. And
oh my god,
I think that's what they're doing. It's more and more people are getting prepared for, living in a world where they're not allowed to own any say of the future. They're not allowed to be invested in the future generationally or something like that. But yeah, this is crazy.
You need to have a special license to
it's
talk
like
to
you guys, who has kids? You guys have kids. Did you guys see Hocus Pocus 2?
Nope.
All right, so here's the deal. I'm gonna go walk you through this because someone said, "Hey, I'm not gonna watch this without my kids." I'm like, I would not watch this movie with your kids. I would probably, I watched it so that you don't have to, kind of a thing. But I'm gonna tell you, it's okay.
That's the role of the DJ, Andreas. You weed through the stuff so that you can share what the good stuff is and
I heard a 7-year-old boy say that Bette Midler was beautiful. You know what I mean? I've seen too much in my life. I mean, in real life, that's a reaction to after the movie Hocus Pocus sees Bette Midler all done up, and he's like, "Oh wait, that's the witch. She's beautiful." It's like, "Oh God, they really got you." So here's the show in a nutshell. It is the craft for kids basically these witches show up again. They're not really villains. They're just trying to get their second wind back and back on the town, you know, kind of thing. But the girls who summon them, they're Wiccans, right? And so these Wiccan little teenage girls, they're really excited because this is the next gen opportunity for them to assimilate the roles of the witches, which indeed they, spoiler alert, do. They end up taking over. The witches almost lose themselves because of their love of power. Realize, you know, she's gonna lose her sisters if she doesn't fix it up. They end up going off, and then they leave the powers with this new coven of witches. But in the there are some things there, you know, I won't completely destroy it. You could probably still watch it and get something from it. But these girls convince the witches that they're actually 40 and that they just get magic. I forget what it stood for, but lotions, right? Which are magic potions. And that if you go to Walgreens, you can buy all the souls of children you want in mixed in already to these lotion potions. God. And then they go through and they're convinced because then they use a face app photograph and it shows them that they're prettier in the photograph. And they're the illusion, the material illusion of secular society is more magically convincing and at least sufficiently convincing to convince the witches that that what we have now is an accomplishment for witches, you know, in this modern era. Like it's
what is going on, man? What is going on?
Yeah, it was nuts.
There's a lot of because there's also just witches, right? We're talking about The Witch. We got Hocus Pocus 2, but they made a remake of The Witches from the 80s, right? That was pretty weird.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I tried really hard. I think I got like about 10 minutes into it or something like that, but I couldn't quite do the new Witches. I know they want to remake it again, but dude, like the original Witches is just what you got to do. If you want a horror movie to show your kids, I think The Witches might be it because I've been thinking about it. It's kids turn into mice. They turn back out of them. Witches are super scary. Chocolates are used to cannibalize children. It's a huge, great, big metaphor for how the world really works. And it's the same thing as Stephen King's It with John Wayne Gacy, right? I think we talked about this before, but John Wayne Gacy was a JC and a member of the Democratic whatever, killed 33 kids and was, you know, called the Killer Clown. Happened in like 78, and then eventually you've got It, you know, with Pennywise, which is Stephen King never admitted was based on him because he would have to, you know, I mean, Dahmer's victims got all the money.
He named it after the band, right? Isn't it the same year that the movie? No, I'm sorry, timing's off.
Pretty dang clear though that Pennywise is John Wayne Gacy, and it's a good thing for kids to know that hey, pedophiles will eat you if you freaking don't be careful about clowns. I mean, there's only so many ways you can tell a kid that's clear, right? So, I mean, if we didn't have these weird kind of Hansel and Gretel myths, more kids would literally get eaten. I think that's fair.
So Yoko Ono released Yes, I'm a Witch, which syncs incredibly well with The Crucible. She came out with her other album, Yes, I'm a Witch too. Her album Blueprint for a Sunrise came out on 11/9/2001. Jay-Z's The Blueprint came out on 9/11/2001. There's only 2 albums that I know of that were released on 9/11, 2 major albums by serious, you know, big musicians that came out on 9/11. One was Bob Dylan's Love and Theft. The other one was Jay-Z's The Blueprint. Pretty weird that Yoko Ono did Blueprint for a Sunrise on 11/9 of the same year. I don't know if that was like, I don't what's the Jay-Z thing? Why is he called Jay-Z? Do you guys know that? Like, is it like Joaquin would start with J, Boaz ends with Z? Is there a connection there, or does he have some? I don't know why he calls himself. Whatever.
Well, I don't know. I would try to track Jay-Z. He just invested in the pizza truck business. I don't know what that was. It's just kind of weird, you know.
What does that mean, pizza truck business?
You know, I don't know. Maybe it's ping pong pizza. I don't know.
So Bill Gates. I mean, I'm sorry. Bill Hicks reference.
Article. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. There might be something in there,
dude.
Yeah, because Jay-Z invests in.
Have you guys seen the? Everybody's seen the clip of him freaking out on the heckler, right? It's a pretty standard Bill Hicks video. But there's a much longer. there's a much longer extended version of this clip where eventually he's just yelling at the audience, or he's making fun of the audience, and he starts going on this rant about the public and how the artists and the elites of the world, like the real important ones, like talking about himself. And it's very anti Bill Hicks. And I don't know what he was doing. Perhaps it was performative art.
Probably coke. Probably a lot of coke.
Yeah, probably a lot of that, but it was interesting what came out of his mouth. And it's not the clip that everybody sees, which makes him out to be, you know, the comic hero that takes out the heckler. It was shattering a little bit, gotta admit.
Bill Hicks is an interesting character.
What do you guys think
Alex
of that whole
Jones, right?
Alex Jones thing? Like, there's some people that take it completely seriously. They're like, no, but seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's true, but I still think it'd be awesome if he just said it was. I just keep telling Alex he should just literally identify as Bill Hicks, and maybe he would be able to get out of trouble with the law. It'd be like the artist formerly known as Alex Jones, the artist who returns to being known as Bill Hicks. I mean, it's probably a legal loophole that it should be explored more. But
wait, Alex Jones, what the hell? I came back and there's Alex Jones.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's hard. People have made their minds up about this one.
Oh man, I don't know.
I just sent you a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even looking at any of them. Well, you guys were skip talking about witches. I made some witch posts. Oh my god, what the heck are we looking at?
I just want to turn out to be Andy Kaufman. That's what I want.
Okay, so I uploaded that Jay-Z robotic pizza truck business post.
Oh whoa, hold on.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So Jay-Z invests in a robotic pizza truck.
Yeah, so the guy who invented the company, the robotic business, is actually a Taiwanese guy who works for SpaceX. He was employee. I think his last name is Chia. And,
dude, the pizza flag. He's got a flag, and I think it might be pizza related. Oh no, it's a map. Sorry.
And it looks like that. I don't know. It reminds me of MTV, the trophy,
right?
MTV award.
And there's seriously a dog in the sky.
There's that serious symbol there. And so I don't know why he's investing in it, but it's a lot of money.
Well, I mean, a robotic pizza company, that makes a lot of sense. Get pizza to people with robots.
Well, I was reading the founder was basically saying that basically they cannot afford any people to make pizza anymore, so robots will save a lot of money, cut out the human labor. So
yeah, or at least make it possible for people to eat it all. That's the thing. It's going to be pretty soon. You're going to have natural automatic systems to just keep billions of people alive, at very least. If you want to have any economy at all.
Hey, did any of you guys watch the Mitchells versus the Machines with Florence and the Machine lungs?
Oh, you put that? You have the.
Dude, so we had that conversation, and like I had this whole like thing that happened to me with that song "Dog Days Are Over." That's the first song on the album Lungs, like a number of years ago. Where like I don't always get like a lot of joy out of like when I'm right about something and somebody else, but I was having this thing where there was these two girls and they're talking about the dog days are over, and they're like, all it is about her relationship. And I was like, well, she's kind of using the relationship as like kind of a reverse allegory of like the shift of the ages, and how like, I was like, it's about the star Sirius, because star Sirius etymologically is a scorcher, and it's how the Egyptians knew the hottest time of the year by how close Sirius was, and which was dependent on the Nile. I'm saying all this stuff. And they were like, no, the song's about her and a relationship. And so it became this whole fight. And then they looked it up, and then one looked at the other, and she's like, here's a quote from Florence explaining basically that what I was saying was what it was. But anyway, so I had that on my mind recently. I was just discussing it. And then you brought up the Mitchells versus the Machines. And I paired these together. This is fucking mind blowing. Like there's like, So it starts out with the dog days are over, and the movie jumps into like halfway through the movie, right? The first scene is like when the robots are attacking everything. There's a point where that song shifts. The first time that it like slows down, and it's like, it does it several times, but the first time it does it, they're flying right here in the scene that you can see right there. They're flying through the window of the toy store, right, or wherever they're at, and so that shift in that song occurs when they go through the window, when they first take off. The second time that the round the second round the album makes with the film, it lands on the exact same second when they first are going through the window. So like the part of the song reoccurs when they revisit the exact same moment from a different angle later in the film. Like the probability of all this shit that happens here is fucking completely blew my mind. So anyway, I want to thank you, Andreas, for bringing this movie up. I saw it at like
definitely watch this tonight.
at like
I'm gonna watch.
I saw it at like 1 a.m. or something when the movie first came out, and I remembered really liking it. But you were describing the movie, and I was like, that movie sounds awesome. Whatever it is that you're talking about, I really want to see that. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have seen that, and I was like, I need to pay attention to that. And there's a whole crazy thing happening here. And so the dog days relation is serious. If you've seen the movie, you know the dog is central to the plot. There's like a million things that happen that I could talk about with this one. But yeah, I just want to drop that and emphasize that this shit's crazy.
Dude, I can't believe how quickly you got this made. We were talking about this. This is September 26th.
Yeah, I spent 3 nights on this one with the volume in between the vocals and just like meditating on the whole thing. I watched this thing over and over and over again before I actually uploaded it. Yeah.
Dude, this is awesome. Yeah, I will definitely watch this tonight. I just posted it in the Discord. I should also share that pretty soon. And you know what? Just really quickly, because I haven't done that in a while. Let me see if I can find the there we go. Discord. Escape into the Discord. If you guys haven't been to tartarynova.com, you can get a link to the Discord here, and we've got like crazy stuff going on. All of a sudden, there's like it's really organized. We have mods, and we have a lot of bots. You'd be like, why do you have so many robots? Well, because we also have like a games area. Where's this at? The games here. And you can play like chess against each other, or like race, or like ask it questions about gematria, or I mean, there's all kinds of weird bots you didn't realize existed. So we've got a whole thing set up there, and there's now a radio chat, and that's what we're going to be doing more for people that are used to listening to this, but they want to talk with each other more. You can go to the radio chat now, and you can have conversations with each other, and that's going to be great for the groups to build up more data. You can keep lists and everything about what you've been talking about in the physical text chat as well. And so I just went to videos. Where's the videos here? And the droids are going to start posting whenever David puts a new video up, it'll just automatically go to video. You'll be able to find it the same way you can automatically find a Synctank video from the Usher bot. See there, that's going to be great. So, but right now, just go to the syncbook.com network, or just click on this link and you can watch the Synctank thing. We might even listen to it while we watch it together in the radio chat or something. Like you could have a text chat while we go and just talk about what we're watching there. So yeah, join the Discord.
What? Oh, that Discord? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dude, I got the Discord all fancy because of TechSpread. The mod TechSpread really helps set this up. So thank you very much for making that possible. The community it's a lot more organized. It's easier for us to do stuff. All right. Well, we're about 10 minutes out. Is there anything else you guys want to make sure we get covered?
I'd like to give a shout out to Kickstarter that Alan Green is doing right now for his video game Little Ghost. I don't know. I mean, how do I
can get there. 1 second. I'm almost there again.
Yeah. Well, it should be through our website too. So
yep. That's why it'll be super easy once I open the website instead of the Discord. Boom. Kickstarter, support the Little Ghost. Click on this, and 27 days to go. It's happening right now. This is a really low goal. It's only $13,777, which is, I mean, granted, there's some magical points to those numbers, but it's also an actually reasonable goal to make sure that you get a full game that's going to be as epic as this, having these kinds of tarot card. I mean, you definitely want this game.
Well,
go ahead, David. Explain better.
93 backers. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Wow. And as you can see above or below about the game, there are totally different pledging levels that you can choose to do. I literally only did that to say as above or below, but you can definitely go back this project at different levels if you want. And there's things you can get, either a copy of the game or a digital tarot deck PDF at least, which is pretty sweet because it's a pretty good deal. And the game and the tarot deck, 23, which, come on and smirk at that. That's pretty funny. But 33, if you want to get the game, download Little Ghost sticker pack, Little Ghost pin, a couple other things there. What's the 93 pledge? I'm curious. Oh, there's no 93 pledge. It's like a 124, 237. That's reasonable. I'll draw your art and make your character into an NPC. Must be original character and drawings that you own the rights to. Work with me on determining the NPC's character. So you can actually be a part of this at a pretty low level.
Just look at all the numbers. Pledge $237.
Yeah.
And what's the next one? Is it
420? It was 420. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw 3,000 down there too, so you can go pretty deep if you want to like be really supportive. But for $7, you can get a tarot card deck on PDF that's pretty sweet, and there's a lot of good art there. So, in case I scrolled through that way too fast, remember from the Synctank website you can get to the very front of the syncbook.com will take you to the Little Ghost Kickstarter, and if you look for the Little Ghost on Kickstarter, there you will find it. But Chris, we barely got to talk. I hope you don't just never come. I hope you just never come back. We're gonna have to do this again. Is there anything you wanted to make sure you got out before it was too late? Because we're 2 hours deep. Oh, he's muted. Marvelous. I got it. I'm muted. You're good.
No, maybe next time.
Yeah, legit. And do you want to at least tell us where we can, in the meantime, get more of your work? Find some of your stuff.
Yeah, syncphony.com is my website. That's sync, Fanny, syncphony.com. And you can find lots of symbol work there, going through all kinds of strange symbol stuff. I'm on Facebook also. Important thing that I'd like to talk about sometime soon. It'd be good to talk about Hepnan. That is my Christmas. And someday it'll be yours too.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of amazing work here. So I don't know if you have time. We'll try to make sure if you can come back on next Tuesday or something, we can go deeper. Because I do want to cover all the things connecting the Stargates to New Jerusalem, and I think that we're at the right season for it. It was a little. We didn't quite go as deep as I wanted to yet. So I look forward to going even deeper. And guys,
tonight.
Say it again.
We were scratching at a lot of stuff here tonight.
Right, yeah, but you got to think.
It's Yom Kippur, and I didn't realize this site. I don't know. I'm not. Did I see this years ago? Have you had this for a long time?
Yes.
Wow, it's coming along. Yeah, you got the tefillin there. This all looks like interesting subject matter. Yeah, check it out.
I believe that what I'm doing is taking the unconscious and putting it before you, where you're able to view and be aware of your unconscious collective symbol meanings, but we're not ready, so nobody pays attention yet. So we'll see, someday.
This is pretty great, though. I mean, right? Yeah, we're gonna have to do something really deep, and I'd love to record even just some of the things you've written because there's some really great stuff here. Like it's people should be listening to this. So I'll, make sure I've also covered this. I'm gonna put this into the Discord in deep dive ideas. I don't know. We got a lot of great places for this. So I'm going to make a sync category right there on the Discord. How about that? So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun.
Andy, where about you? Where are we going to find your content?
Oh, you're going to find me at the Deep Share, and that's about it. Yeah, on social media, just ranting pretty much. But my podcast is on all the different platforms that you can find podcasts. And I'm on YouTube and Odyssey and Rockfin. But yeah, the website, I should do more with it. I think I've said that before, but I kind of just stream my podcast there.
Yeah, but you can definitely go to the Deep Share up on YouTube. Get yourself subscribed there, and that's not a bad place to start. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. The past few episodes have been pretty awesome. We're getting into some weird history for sure.
Yeah, Ragnarok, End of Times. I have to listen to that one still. And
honestly, I'm so tired of looking at UFO Twitter and seeing the same Stockholm syndrome over and over again. That so that newest episode that you see, Kill the Narrative, is kind of like a new side series I'm going to start throwing in every couple of weeks, where I just have a group of people on that are interested in that general idea of the UFO topic, quote unquote, but what it could really mean and what the bullshit is behind. You know what I mean? It's right. It's a fine line, and yeah, there's a lot of trickery going on. So.
The hyper skeptic. There we go. And then Eddie Synchronous Facebook group. Get yourselves membered. I've noticed the numbers started to increase and elevate. So
Well,
let's get
thanks
it.
to you
Yeah.
for advertising in the.
Hey man, as long as people like the material, if they build it, they will come. And I think this is great. Velma's sexuality confirmed in the new Scooby-Doo film after years of ambiguity. I mean, you know what?
Well-
This is exactly what people are talking about. It's kind of weird. But
I was hoping that she likes men, but she doesn't.
well, I mean, but is the man she doesn't like Elliot Page? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And then the question is, does she like you? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because she could be
Right.
into women, but she means you, and then whatever. I'm just saying.
Anything but
it's beautifully complicated. I love it.
It's
I love
a fantasy. We've all gone there, I'm sure, in our heads about Velma, the Abbey of Velma.
I gotta say, it wasn't imagination that did it for me. Pornhub has a few of those.
Oh,
you're right. Gotcha. Scooby isn't actually there in those videos, right? He's like just in spirit, right?
Kind of a
Okay, never mind.
disembodied thing.
Yeah, the point is like make sure your censored blocks also block the words Rule 34. It's important.
Mhm.
It could be bad. Otherwise, your kids end up
Oh.
in places they don't need to be.
Mhm. Rule 42 is that no one over how many feet is allowed in the courtroom? I forgot.
a mile high.
40.
16?
I don't,
What was it?
I don't remember how tall she was, but anyway, never mind. Whatever.
All right, guys. I think we cover everyone's. Oh yeah, sorry, David. Go. What do you say?
I don't know. I was just gonna say, Chris, it's nice to see you, man. I haven't seen you since I saw you in person, and now we're doing a podcast, and that was like what 6-7 years ago, something.
Like, whoa, same dude. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming on. I hope you come on again. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear more, man.
Dude, peace out.